Welcome to Hold Yourself Together, guys. Episode 69 of Winging It. 6 points, 9 men.
Nice.
Well done, guys. I'm glad Albert's not here. We lost it. It was bad enough we had to talk about scouts last week.
Oh, God.
I'm not sure he'd have been able to handle episode 69. But yes, Albert is away. I think he's in Kenya. Believe it or not, he's there for work, not on holiday, so he says.
Mm.
He hadn't been there an hour today. And he sent us a picture with a guy wearing a Brighton shirt in the middle of Kenya. Can't make it up. Giggling away in the background there, you can hear Carl. Thanks for joining, Carl.
Hey everybody, I'm rather hoping our favourite Watford fan was singing "We've only got 9 men" at him.
Yeah, something like that. But no, I hope everything's going well out there, Albert. But you know, the greatest stand-in there is available is here to fill your boots and to talk about. Well, we all know. We'll get into it shortly. But semi-final tickets have finally been announced on the day of recording, Wednesday, the 8th of April. First phase goes on sale on the 10th of April. Where should I start? Hesketh, how are you feeling? What do you feeling about the brackets?
Don't love the brackets. Primarily because whilst I have season ticket plus, I don't think I know many other people that do, so I just have to wait anyway. I know there's obviously been a furore around the memberships being lumped in with the other season ticket holders, which is a bit off, I think, but I'm sure plenty will have been said by the time this comes out and you're listening to it. I just think it's going to be a bit of a bum fight on the Friday.
I think, the stadium's obviously a very, very big one. So I think, making season ticket plus a day earlier than season tickets, I don't think it makes much of a difference, really. It's going to be a drop in the ocean in terms of the size of the stadium based on our projections that 20% of people maybe have season ticket plus, because with all the people, with my group of people, there's like 20 of us and 2 of us have it.
Yeah.
It's the same in your group. I don't know what it's like in your group, Carl. I don't know if it's a bit higher than that.
There's a lot of people been buying season plus today.
Well, and that's kind of what it feels a little bit like, a bit of a money grab, because they've dropped it a $5 in price to 45, and a lot of people have for some reason panicked. So I don't think there's any need to panic, and gone off and got season ticket plus.
What I do like about it is we've obviously nodded to our history and taken on all of the learnings of Ron Nodes for the 1990 Cup final, and I'll flog absolutely anything possible to get you up the waiting list. So it's in our DNA, and I think if we'd had full out and out American owners, they would never have sensed this opportunity. But having Steve Parish, who would have been there queuing and buying Lifeline in 1990, he's gone, I'll have a little bit of this. We'll sell them something else to get them up the list.
Yeah, on the one hand, you got to see it as an opportunity to make some money. On the other hand, it feels wrong to be doing it from your fans.
It's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah.
It's all wrong.
Yeah.
It's all wrong. There's enough. It's a rounding error in the whole of the commercials. There was no need to do this.
Yeah, and maybe it's a driver to try and encourage people to have it next season as well, and that kind of thing. So I don't know. There's going to be, I don't know. I just think so. I've got less problem with gold members being lumped in with season ticket holders, because we have a few friends that it's pointless them having season tickets, but they come as and when they can. And they have a gold membership and stuff like that, and they probably come to a third of the games. But so I'm nesting about that. And then you probably got a lot of people with kids and that kind of thing, and haven't got season tickets, but they're going to want to bring their kids. And as I say, it's a big stadium. There's a lot of room. Go on.
I think on that, T. I think actually there's some comms that just could have come out that would have helped. It is a big stadium. Why not tell them the amount of people who are currently in the brackets? And why not say what the capacity is in the lower tier or each price? We've got 7,000 tickets that are costing 75 quid or whatever it may well be. Put the numbers out there. And I guess the little sensible pushback here comes. I'm not sure where the fan advisory board, which is there to represent us as fans, has been in any of this. And it would just be nice to have known, have they been involved in it? Have they not been involved in it? But yeah, put the visibility up there to take the nervousness out of it. Don't worry. If you're in phase 3, you are still guaranteed a ticket, for example. Even simple stuff like that would just help.
Yeah, I completely agree. Because you got to think our allocation is going to be circa 33k, something like that.
Yeah.
Got to imagine everyone's going to be all right, but it's just ideally you'd want to be able to get everyone together, and sometimes that's not possible due to lap plans or whatever, and who might want to come for the day out, who would probably still get a ticket but now might not come because they're going to have to sit elsewhere and not be able to sit with everyone. Not that that ever seems to make a jot of difference at Wembley, because everyone just goes wherever they want anyway.
I was going to say, all of my mates have said they don't want to sit next to me, so I should get mine on the first day anyway.
I like it. But we've had a little bit of fun, and we've each made our definitive list of what really should be phase 1. How should you be able to qualify for phase 1 of your tickets? Shall I go first? Shall I give you my list?
Yes.
Do it.
Right. These are very specific. You have to have seen Aaron Wilbraham score and be sat next to Alex Marrow while it's happening.
Oh.
There's only 2 people in that group.
Preston are going to feature quite heavily in my list. Go on then, Hesketh, give me one of yours.
You have to be a proud owner of the shirt with Crystal Palace written with an H.
Have you got one?
No.
I thought it was wasn't it a scarf? I thought it was scarves, or was it actually on the shirt as well? Shirt as well. Fuck. We're good at comms, don't worry. It's fine. Go on, Carl.
Again, still in the Amex at the final whistle last season.
Well, you're out, mate.
I'm out.
You're in phase 4. It don't even exist.
I didn't even get to half time.
Wowzers! Yeah. Well, I'm still in. I'm still on mine, and I'm still on yours, Carl. Not so much the Crystal Palace one with an H. I told you Preston are going to feature heavily. You have to have heard Preston fans sing Johnny Mac and You Can Shag My Mum, and then get your travel refunded by Simon Jordan.
Bloody hell.
What a day that was. Didn't even have a shot, did we?
Fucking hell. A definitive Palace away game.
Ring it up, Hesketh.
Well, I don't know if I can top that. What will we go for? Let's make it fairly topical to the pod. You have to have read Kevin Miller's biography.
Oh, I'm never getting in.
Yeah, Kevin Miller's autobiography. A must read.
Must read for everyone who can find a copy in a Devonian charity shop.
Well, I mean, Albert's got a copy in his house and he can't even find it. So. Oh, good. I'm loving how this list is building. Go on, Carl.
I know I am the only one here, and I was talking this with the lad, and he's disgusted that I've gone for it. Seen all 11 Palace games at Wembley. Oh. Can you even name the 11 Palace games at Wembley?
That is quite disgusting.
That is disgusting. I'm not quite old enough to.
Started in '88 Centenary Cup, but also in there, you've got FA Cup replays, ZDSs, playoffs, Spurs away in the league. Let's not forget.
Yeah,
Palace at Wembley.
Great shout.
Yeah. What in the era of Spurs beating us 1-0 and their goalkeeper having a weldy, regardless of who it was.
Yeah, and Son, who at that time nobody knew was a really great player, obviously turned into the greatest player ever. Yeah,
that's the one. My next one is fairly simple. It was at Swansea 5-4.
Oh fuck! I'm not getting any tickets here.
Still taking
I think
counselling.
Yeah, for my sanity,
the
that's not the worst.
essential. Only Palace could you be 3-1 down, go 4-3 up, and be looking at your mates going, "There's still too long left on the clock. We're gonna lose."
We've peaked too early.
In injury time.
Hesketh.
Well, I mean, we all miss it. You have to have won on Mished.
Oh, blimey.
Oh,
Blimey.
I also haven't done that, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I would love to have had a go. I got you always knew when you were going to be called up because it was a sticker over the number in the program, and I got it for the half-time challenge, which was from the halfway line, it's a penalty spot, edge of the area, edge of the D, halfway line. But you're not the only one, so there's a group of like 20 of you, and then you draw a straw. And I didn't.
Oh wow!
I didn't draw the short straw at the time, so I didn't get to do it.
Got it.
Close, but no cigar.
All right, I'm going to keep mine. I'm keeping it Swansea. Seen Alexander Sorloth score for Palace.
Unbelievable. That is next on my list too. We finally overlapped. We got really far down before we overlapped. That's amazing. Seen Sorloth score for Palace. Yeah. Yeah, it's great goal as well. Good evening.
Jeez.
Right, I'll go down to the next one on my list. Squatted in the hotel lobby outside Temple Mead Station after missing the last train home because a penalty hit a post. Ben Watson.
Jesus.
You've got a lot to answer for. It was so funny when the hotel manager came in. It's like 3:00 in the morning and the bar's still open, and there's like 50 Palace fans sat in there. He's like, "Any of you staying at this hotel?" No, mate. Go on, Hesketh.
Okay, well, this isn't on my pre-written list, but I've just remembered it, and I think. Well, I don't think I knew you both then, but you may well get a ticket out of this. Have to have been in the White Horse pub after the last Player of the Year marquee on the pitch, when Paddy McCarthy and a couple of other first teamers were doing the rowboat on the floor.
Yeah, I mean.
There you go.
I think you'll find after that as well in the. Was it the Clifton? No, not the Clifton. We might have been in that somewhere in one of the boozers round Selhurst after Paddy McCarthy was singing Elvis on karaoke.
Great.
Yeah. What a guy. What a man.
What a guy.
Go on, Carl.
Right. Back to Bristol. Seen Florian Morange play for Palace.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a shout.
No tracksuit top, but at least they gave him a kit that night, I suppose. Yeah. Florian Morange. Right, I'm one down, aren't I? Because I repeated seen Sorloth score. So, I mean, there's many to choose on. 7-1 at Huddersfield.
Oh,
3-0 at Scunthorpe. 4-0 at home to Scunthorpe.
Grim.
3-3 Stockport.
Oh, that was on mine.
Oh, there you go. You thunder. So you can choose any of those. Anyone got anyone left that we ain't spoke about?
Yeah. Seen Jeffrey Schlupp play centre-back. Surely.
God, I could have done with him on Saturday playing centre-back, to be honest. Brilliant. Feel free to share with us on social media any ones that you might have lumped in there. I'm sure there's 100 more examples. Right. Last time we recorded just before Southampton, we all went down there.
We did.
Hesketh, do you want to talk us through the journey that we made? We embarked. We were on the infamous Coach 1, official club coach.
We were.
How was it?
Yeah, it provides a very good service for those who need it, I would say. I don't necessarily put you and I in the group of people who need it.
This is the politician's answer, this is.
Yeah. Well, it started off with me getting quite stressed out because you were there 1 minute after you were supposed to be. And I get very high anxiety about meeting people and them not being there. You weren't to know this. And in your defense, you weren't late. And as it turns out, the coach didn't leave until half an hour after it was supposed to. So you definitely weren't late. But I had a good maybe minute and a quarter on the WhatsApp trying to discern where exactly you were, and then look out the window and see if I could see you because I was sweating. And then it turns out...
I mean, I live so close to the stadium, it would have been really hard for me to get lost in the time that I told you I've left my house.
That is very true. And as it turned out, even by the time I got on the coach, there weren't 2 seats together. So we didn't sit together there or back. And yeah, the journey down took ages. We left late. We got caught in traffic in London. We got caught in traffic in Southampton. We drove to the wrong part of the stadium. So we had to do a UE, and they blocked off every side road. So we had to go all the way around. But we got there in the end.
Yes, it was. Like maybe purgatory was a bit harsh, but yeah. The old boy sat next to me, just no interest in even looking in my direction in case he caught my eye.
Yeah.
Whilst other guys on the coach just running commentary of everything that's going on outside the window.
Of absolutely everything, even when there was nothing outside the window. And I was so paranoid about my phone running out of juice and not being able to get a cab home that I didn't put my headphones in for the entire way there or back, which was a mistake.
And meanwhile, my AirPods have run out of battery very early in the journey. No, but as you say, it provides a fantastic service for people who live close by, who are older, and gets them to from. It is brilliant for those guys, and there is definitely you feel like a community spirit on there. You get the sense that like 80% of them travel together to all the games and stuff like that. So it's definitely a need for it. Just not us quite yet, despite how old we're getting. Not quite yet, I don't think.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Carl, I assume you were down there at like 3 or something, getting on it.
Yeah, I've got to say it's probably the game that as you know, in light of we didn't lose, spoiler alert, we didn't lose. It was probably the game I least enjoyed, just purely because I was absolute manic with work. So, yeah, we were on a slightly later train, didn't get in that much, but got in at after 5, so stress-free compared to yours. But yeah, I wasn't on a big one out in the source. Caught up with some of the Southampton Roma, which was great, really sociable. But yeah, sort of walked into the ground and hadn't been involved in any of the Palace atmosphere beforehand. So I felt like I was always playing catch up. So it was I was there. It looked like everybody else had been in the game significantly longer than me. Yeah, hadn't had any of the pre-match, so it was totally different to anything I normally do.
Well, you were much like the players there in terms of taking a while to catch up in the game. Eventually, although you do feel like Hesketh, if Mateta's shot that cracks the bar sneaks under in the opening couple of minutes, we'll probably run away with it. But as it stood, it didn't go in, and Southampton got themselves into the game quite nicely.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, we'll talk about what happened after we equalised, but certainly, if Southampton had let that goal in early, I think we would have had quite an easy game. I think we would have beaten them quite comfortably. But like you said, we just didn't really get going after that, and I think Southampton were just playing these sort of little triangles, and I just couldn't really get my head around how easy it was for them to get through us. And in fact, when they scored for Tall Paul, as we christened him, because none of us knew what his actual name was, it was just like quite an easy bit of play to them, cross and a goal. And actually, I mean, obviously Southampton are shit, but I actually thought they were all right in the first half, but I don't know if that's because we were particularly bad or whether they had sort of stepped their game up a bit.
Yeah, Carl, do you think it was a case of we'd had a massive game on the weekend that had a big break, and we were just not at the races early on, and it took us a while to get in the game? Or you think there's a bit more to it than that?
I think there's just a bit more to that. Look, there's undoubtedly I agree. We score early on, we go on, and I think we run away with that game. We're clearly a little bit tired, and as the game goes on, you can see that. But actually, I think that if you've watched Juric's Torino, that's what we got. They'd clearly energised themselves in that break. They'd set themselves a new goal. We're not going to go down as the worst Premier League team ever. They were very open about that. For the first time, this wasn't about staying up, and we were going to battle. We know we're relatively formulaic to play against. It works for us. In this instance, it didn't. I think that's the second game on the, with Jurich has played us twice, that Southampton team. They found it quite easy to play against us, sat, being combative in the midfield, just not letting us breathe. The referee didn't bring up the niggly fouls, didn't get the book out anywhere near early enough. And I just think it actually suited Southampton's style. The moment they got the confidence that they're not the worst team in the Premier League, or, on that night they weren't the worst team in the Premier League, we just can play. We just literally, we're not a long ball team, but they were sat deep, but really, really pressed that midfield really, really hard. They were genuinely formulaic in itself. I sat there watching about 10 minutes, not watching what was going on, but watching what was going on. Not the actual play, but where Southampton's shape were. They literally didn't move out of shape. They were, once they'd taken the lead, I mean, yeah, they were very, very compact in what they did, and beat us up a little bit.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you've often seen in all their defeats this season, them having more possession than their opponent, regardless of who they are, even the teams higher up the league. And we're a team that tends to have, maybe 50-50-ish, a little bit less than 50% possession. But we ended up with nearly 60, I think, over the course of the game. But it definitely didn't feel like that. Like watching the game, that's not how it felt. But yeah, I just thought Southampton did a really, really good job. I think Lerma and Walton just got overrun a little bit in the middle because we just couldn't get anything work on them. I think they pressed Walton really well, tried to wind him up as well, which I don't know whether they watched a Fulham game and saw that maybe he can get to him a little bit. So I think he's got to watch out for that going forward. But we were saying in the game, Hesketh, that it was your mate, wasn't it, saying we haven't ever really seen Glasner rip up the book in a game and just throw on loads of subs in one go and try and change it like that. And then hey, so 60 minutes in, that's exactly what he does, and he makes a triple substitution.
Yeah.
For once, substitutes changed the game for us.
Yeah, I think so. My mate Jake, who said that, and something you said a little bit later, seemed to come true. So I don't know if we had a direct line to Glasner, but we deserve some of the credit here. I think we were watching that game. It just wasn't happening for the reasons that Cole said and you said, and I think it just makes sense, especially with all these sort of all of these games in quick succession. I was hoping that we'd be like easily ahead, and then we could make subs to rest players. As it was, we were struggling, and it just made sense to bring some of the subs on. And actually, I think they all did pretty well. Kamada was very good. Nketiah grew into the game quite well. And França, even though he sort of slipped a few times, I think Glasner mentioned his studs. He just looked like he wanted to do something, and I know he's eager and keen, but he looked like he wanted to do something. And I think ripping it up and bringing on those subs did make a difference. It energized us a bit. And the thing that you said at the end, I think we were just into injury time. And I said, this is the most Palace will never score in a million years game I've seen in ages. Obviously very positive me. And then Terence, you said, Southampton are historically bad. They'll find a way to fuck it up somehow. And within a minute, France had equalised. So I tip my hat to you.
Yeah. After all the videos we watched on YouTube when we signed França, no one would have had his debut goal, or not his debut goal, his first goal for the club being a crashing header late in stoppage time away at Southampton.
And I think that the reaction to it being him as well was great. You know, for the last few shows now, we've talked about the togetherness in the squad and in the stands and all that. And, you know, everyone was really happy he scored. And after the game, the players pushed him to the fans. He got a great response. He was sort of dancing around a bit. He seems a bit shy still, but I think he really appreciated it. And it, even though 1-1 against Southampton is not a great result, it sort of ended on a feel-good moment, which really helped.
Yeah, well, we got contact in saying that, well, basically blaming me for the pod last week of bringing positivity out of Hesketh. So it was laid at your doorstep, Hesketh. And they said, stick to your guns. They want pessimism only from now on.
I mean, if they'd have been stood next to me during the game until we scored, they would have had plenty of pessimism. Don't worry about that.
Excuse me, Carl. Do you think the late goal was important in relation to going into Saturday's game against Brighton?
It was important for França. Do you know what? I get a sense that their character and Glasner is strong enough that they'd ride out a 1-0 defeat down at Southampton. They're just too strong for all of that. But you know, and all of that stuff, it just does make it easier. I think it actually probably makes it easier for the City in the Newcastle game. Going, look, even when you're not your best, we didn't get beaten. We've got a long unbeaten run. There's confidence there for that. I suspect it had no real bearing on the Brighton one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just throwing out some potential thoughts. So yeah, everyone will be pleased to know the coach journey back goes really well. Takes like half the time, no problem. Straight through crew. Enjoyed the journey back a little bit more, especially on the back of França's goal. And then it brings us to Saturday against Brighton. Now, Carl, you said you didn't lose sleep over this one.
I didn't lose sleep over this. Honestly, I can't believe what's happened to me. And actually, the only worry I got was the fact I wasn't worried. By the way, I've realised this is the latest beer check ever. Vault City, strawberry, raspberry, coconut ripple. You lot might have all gone teetotal. This is 6%, and now we're talking Brighton, so I'm drinking it.
Yes.
Excuse me. Yeah, I'm away from home today. I'm in my childhood room, believe it or not. I'm back at my mum's for one night only and having to record it from here tonight.
What's that West Ham poster on the wall?
I think you'll find it would have been everyone's Arsenal round here. Might not be the case now that West Ham have moved to Stratford, which makes it a lot closer. But yeah, when I was growing up, it's Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool, basically round here. So anyway, go on, knock yourself out, Brighton.
Yeah. Look, honestly, it was a real one. I've openly said on the pod previously, and anybody knows me, it's the one game I do lose sleep about. Nobody'd ever want to read a book if I wrote one, but I'd have to do a chapter on the decisions I've made on the back of Brighton games, including turning down a job, including not turning up for an interview for a job. Never have stuff around jobs around Brighton games. It changes all your mood altogether. But yeah, look, it's the one game that just gets in my head and I do lose sleep. But this one, that Fulham semi-final, this Glasner thing, this being the year we are going to win something, I was just so on the buzz of it all. I had no nerves. I got down the pub and I still wasn't nervous. No nervous energy at all. And literally all the way up to the ground. And it was only when you sort of got in the ground and I looked over and could see them in there. It's like, oh, it's that lot. Come on, don't. Just, I would have taken a draw. Don't lose type thing. But weren't that bothered,
Yeah, I mean, I was getting nervous in the build up, definitely, absolutely getting nervous, and walking down to the ground. Which, by the way, when we hadn't won at home after the 2 home defeats in a row, and our home form was looking dodgy, and we're like, oh, we got Millwall coming up, blah. I changed my route to the ground. And we're now 4 out of 4 wins at home. Changing our route to the ground. So I'm taking all the responsibility for these wins.
The France goal, the Brighton win,
No,
your other home win.
No, France goal don't count because that was away. I'm only taking credit for home stuff. But yeah, that was. I've changed my route to the ground, and it's coincided with our upturning form at home.
Just think back to how we beat Watford at Wembley. What route did you take, T? Your own work.
Well, I'm going to have to go and make my way from King's Cross because that was where I was living at the point. So something like that. So we'll go down to the ground. Walking past them, it was kind of funny because their fans weren't being let into the stadium as I was walking past the away end. And an announcement comes over the tannoy. I'm like, let me stop and listen to this. They're like, Brighton fans, we'd like to let you into the stadium, but your fans are blocking the entrances, so we can't let you in until they move, and they won't move. Everyone's like, is this a fucking shambles? And I look through the turnstiles, and they are literally up against, like, there is nowhere to go. They're all standing there just drinking. So there's literally nowhere for the fans to go in. And everyone like is just like, at least it ain't not as a knuckle dust as you can. Fuck off. But yeah, getting to the ground, feeling good, and Hesketh, we are out of the traps very, very fast. Mateta drags a shot just wide, but makes no such mistake with his second effort, only a couple of minutes in.
Yeah, that first one that sort of hit the back of the net, but from the wrong side. I didn't think had gone in, but then because loads of people around me were cheering, I was like, oh, it has gone in. So then I started cheering and realised actually, no, it hadn't. But thankfully, not long at all after that. It was a brilliant goal. Watching it back as well, the run that Mark Gay goes on, who ends up taking like 3 of their players completely out of the game, was brilliant. Lovely pass from Ebbs. Yeah, and JP's like first touch and just smash over the top was fucking unbelievable. It was such a good goal. It was the perfect start really, and I was hoping, because I was also very nervous before the game. I was hoping, like we said, it might happen against Southampton if we scored early. We'd just take the game away from them. Unfortunately, that didn't really happen. But yeah, not to take anything away from that finish because it was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, and you know, they did some good bits on Match of the Day around it, but it's the only one I've seen the angle just from the side, and it shows the Gay run, and they give it to Ebbs, and the moment before the Ebbs even gets the ball, Mateta's already on the move, and Van Hecker's already lost because he's not followed him, and it just shows exactly what Mateta has been doing so well for us in the last couple of years now, basically, as we're getting into. He's just, movement is incredible, and he's so deceptively fast for a big guy as well, and across the first few yards. And yeah, just an absolutely incredible finish. And some good limbs, Carl. I saw some good pictures on your Instagram.
Yeah, proper limbs. Really, really good. On the way in, I bumped into Thomas Tuchel, and literally the first thing that flashed through my mind, not the first thing, as the limbs have stopped, I've gone, he's seen Gay pick up the ball, drive 25 yards, pass it to Ebbs, who's played a perfect pass to that other English centre forward, John Phillip. I reckon Tuchel's looking at it. Is he English? We'll have him. It's a great goal. It's a really, really good goal. I mean, forget who it's against just for a moment. And obviously the emotion that comes with all of that, against any team, you'd be proud of that goal. It's not up there with the Liverpool wow goal last season, but there's so much to like about it. And yeah, to your point, T, the Mateta's movement, literally, I think before Ebbs has got the ball, is just fantastic.
Yeah, and it just shows that everyone in the team knows their roles, and it's operating perfectly at the moment because it's seamless. There's no, a lot of the thinking's probably taken out of it because it's done on the training ground. They know in those scenarios exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and yeah, so Ebbs knows that Mateta's going to be moving into that space, and it was, yeah, the pass, the touch, the finish, absolutely brilliant. And it seems impossible that he should be able to beat the best goalkeeper in the world from there. I'm not sure how that's happened, but although Jonathan Pearce on Match of the Day suggesting that Verbruggen went for it with the wrong hand is totally incorrect. That is the exact hand he's supposed to be going for it with. You think he'd been a commentator long enough to know that now, but hey ho, there we go. But then we get Brighton do come back into a bit, and probably for about half an hour play some really good stuff. Unfortunately, but in between them knocking it around quite nicely, Lerma and Welbeck started knocking each other around. Hesketh, you were a bit closer to the action down there where you sit. What was going on?
Yeah, it was weird. I think they maybe had a free kick at one point or a corner, and my mate Phil that I stand with was like, "Look at Lerma! Like Lerma and Welbeck are properly like going at it with each other." So I don't know what set it off. Obviously, something was said because I don't think there was a coming together like during the game, or if there was, I didn't see it. But it carried on. Like every time they were near each other, it was proper like needly. Something happened or something was said. I like Jeff, so I'll back Jeff in that fight.
It looked like at one point Lacroix told them both, like, calm down, lads, like sort yourselves out. Like he even pulled Welbeck aside. It was just like, what? Just relax, what are you doing? But Lerma remained riled the whole way through because we only saw this footage today, but footage has materialised, Carl, with Lerma shoving Dunk at full time as well, right in front of the referee.
Oh, look, give him a statue. Give him a statue. Honestly. Was it Jeff who did the celebration, the 1, 2, 3, whatever it was, down at theirs?
That's right.
Yeah.
I fucking love him. Honestly.
You know, going back to how good we are at comms, though, we'd build a statue of him and it'd be the pose from when he scored the goal for Bournemouth at Selhurst. But yeah, it's really good. I think you saw a lot of it from both sides as well. Good fight and a lot of respect for the rivalry, and I always enjoy that at the game when it's going on. Probably helps from their side, the Dunks on the pitch as well. Who unfortunately didn't perform as badly as he did at the Amex, but still on the losing side, so we'll take it. But their good play ends up with, well, I mean, no other way to describe it. It's a lovely footballing goal, isn't it? A brilliant cross and a lovely striker's finish, Carl.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's easy generally when you analyse things and go, this is what you should have done differently. I'm not completely sure. By that time, that Matt O'Reilly, isn't it? He was starting to run things. We were struggling to pick him up. The ball in is absolutely incredible. I guess defensively, can you block Welbeck off? That's probably the one bit, but I'm not sure how you stop the ball going through and then the cross coming in. I think literally everybody around me went, "It's coming." You could feel it. It was coming, and yeah, it came.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we get through to half time at 1-1, and come out in the second half. And I was a bit worried, to be honest. I sat through half time, didn't go out for a beer or anything. I was there a little bit worried that we were gonna get turned over in the second half, given how well they'd been performing. But as always with Palace, you can't, whatever Glasner said at half time's worked. We've come out, looks a bit more energized. Brighton probably also sensed that they could try and turn the needle a bit and get into us a bit more, and probably ended up with them overcommitting for the goal. Hesketh, as Hinchelwood goes walkabouts up the field, and Eze very, very smartly just peels into the space and waits there for the ball to come to him as we turn it over, and Spring Ebbs is off again.
Spring Ebbs unleashed. Yeah, it was good. I think just before the build-up, when Ty gets hold of the ball, I don't know if it's a long ball up, but he's chasing backwards, and I'm like, oh, just win it, like get rid of it. But he does very well, passes it to Daichi, who again does well to get the ball to Ebbs, and then we're off. And as always with Munoz, when you watch the replays back, Ebbs is, 3/4 of the way to the area. Munoz is still in the other half, but he just absolutely road runners it down the pitch. Great play by Ebbs. And I just like that Munoz there is just he's set to hit it. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't really give it a second thought. Yeah, it took a little bit of a deflection, but I like how positive he is there. And it was one of those where, because of where I stand, as soon as I hit it, it was in. Like you could just see it going in. I fucking lost it when that went in, big time. It was a sort of goal I love seeing Palace score. You know, quick, direct, get the ball moving, and just ping it. So, as we said, as brilliant as JP's goal was, I loved the move and finish for Munoz's. It was great.
Yeah, really, really, really great goal. And Munoz continuing to build his case for Player of the Year at the end of it with another great performance, which sees him end up at right centre back as well. At least I think we'll get into later, because this is when the madness starts to happen, Carl. And Nketiah comes on. It was something you want to talk about before we do that?
No, I was going to say, and no criticism of the substitutions at any stage at the time or anything along those lines, but I thought it was actually in total control. And again, back to what we were talking about even us at Southampton and previous games. Glasner is a system manager, and we improve generally as games go on because he's learning and he's forever subtly changing it. We got in at half time, it was 1-1. He definitely tactically changed some stuff. He got us pressed in a little bit more. We were definitely seeing Ebbs freed up more. We were seeing T and Munoz push forward, and they had no real answer for it. And actually, when the first of the substitutions, and you see the JP going off and Nketiah coming in, not worried at all. I know it's a slightly different height, but they all now know how to go play. Just sort of don't do anything stupid. But yeah, we can talk about the first yellow card. I have a very strong opinion.
Yeah, and you can go and talk about it. I mean, it's in real time when you're watching it in the stadium. You can see how they've come to the conclusion that he's dived. But when you look back at certain replays, Carl, I think it's very clear that his only crime was trying to stay on his feet.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I have no criticism of the referee. As I say, in real time, I thought it was a penalty, and and in my head, I'm convinced it's a penalty. When you watch it back in real time at full speed, I have no criticism of the referee. He sees the Brighton player trying to pull his leg away. He sees Nketiah go past him with another step and then go to floor. Okay, no issues with that. That's why we've got VAR. It's in the penalty area. They are meant to look at it. Obviously, they did look at it. That is a clear and obvious error. There is contact whilst he is running at full speed. The fact that he's then swung his right leg through and stood up because he's trying to stand up before he's gone down, that's irrelevant. There's clear contact that's impeded him in the penalty area. I mean, my criticism is massive VAR. It's a penalty, full stop.
Yeah, and you almost get, because it's only really one camera angle that shows you that there's clear contact. So you can only assume, what, did VAR not look at that angle? What happened in the process? Because we know they've cocked up the process many times in the past. Did they just not look at that camera angle? Did they just look at a couple and go, no contact? It's bizarre, because as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly what VAR should be for. In anyone who's played football, who's running at speed and gets clipped, knows that that's a foul. And yeah, it should be a penalty. We should be going 3-1 up, and then you really can't see any stupid mistakes happening beyond that into the game going in the way it did, because you'd like to think we'd just be able to comfortably see it out. Brighton might even melt and we might get a couple more. You never know. But he gets booked, and then the second yellow card, Hesketh. Now, there's no doubts it's a yellow card. Any arguments it could be a straight red, or what do you reckon?
I think it's a yellow. I mean, at the time, I was trying to cope with it and saying, well, the bloke's bent in half, so it can't be that high. And then you watch replay and I'm like, it's pretty high. It's pretty high foot. I think, I don't know how much these things matter, but he's clearly eyes are on the ball, is jumping in the air. There's no intent to like go in hard on the player. Obviously he does catch him. I think it's a yellow.
Yeah, he doesn't see him coming, I don't think either.
No.
I mean, as a footballer, you should probably know that he is coming, I would imagine, at that sort of level, but he definitely doesn't see him. I don't think there's any intent in it. But I'll tell you one thing, watching back the replays, I want to play poker against Ebbs because his poker face would be fucking shit. Because he immediately just puts his hands on his head. Like, it's going to send off it. But in all fairness, well, you see Anthony Taylor just straight away, like even he winces at the tackle. So you know the red's coming, and he goes off, and that's one suspension in the book. But then we're doing well with 10 men. Like Brighton have a lot of the ball, but they're not really creating anything out of it. And then one of the maddest minutes, I think, in my Palace supporting career occurs where Mark Gay goes through Carl, and this could arguably be a red, straight red.
It's a straight red. I gotta say, my first reaction, I was half looking at something else because there wasn't a lot actually going on. It wasn't in a dangerous area or anything along those lines. Sort of half out the corner of my eye, I thought, what the fuck's Sarr done there? Because I just wouldn't expect it off of Gay and where the position where he wasn't on the pitch and all of that. But yeah, for me, that is a straight red. I'd already accepted it was going to be a straight red because I was thinking it was Sarr on a straight red, and the outcome of yellow. I'm thinking Sarr's not been, but they've literally sort of looked properly. I think that's Gay. No idea what he was thinking. No idea what he's thinking.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very un-Gay.
Yeah, I feel like his first yellow is a bit harsh. It's a bit more of a coming together that, and he did win the ball, but I'm not too married to that idea, especially given that it should probably be a straight red. But what is mad about it, and why I say it's one of the craziest minutes, is that it immediately follows with the fourth official holding up 12 minutes of stoppage time. So, which I know there's not one Palace fan who can honestly say they didn't just go, fuck.
I said to the lad, I said, look, we're definitely going to concede, but if we can see out the first 6 or 7, we're coming away with a draw. When 12 goes up and you're 9 men, it's...
Yeah.
So, unsurprisingly, I did the sort of opposite, or went a bit further even. As soon as I saw the 12, I turned to my mate and said, we're fucking losing.
Yeah, it was concerning, but, and it's now is a good time to talk about him. Daichi Kamada just makes something happen and somehow gets away, pressures perfectly on the Brighton back line, and they're probably expecting, because we got 9 men, that he's going to drop deep. Mm-hmm. And just get ready to soak up pressure, but instead he presses and gets over ahead of Van Hecker, who can't really do anything other than take him out. Hesketh, I mean, as an argument, this is a straight red as well, isn't there? And don't understand why it's the second yellow.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a straight red, and I agree that what I liked about what Daichi did there was he could easily have just sort of stood in front of him, made him play it back to the goalie, or just held his position a bit. But he was very positive. I thought he was brilliant against Brighton. It's the best I've seen him play for us, which is great because before the game I was a bit worried about him coming in. But he was very positive. He got the ball obviously quite clearly, got through, and the guy took him out. To me, that sees the last man, and Daichi's going to write his name in Palace folklore and is been taken out before he can. So I think that was a straight red. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad Daichi did something positive, so everyone can universally sort of say well done.
Yeah, I think he did many things positive in the game.
Yeah,
he really did.
Definitely his best performance for us. And I think Van Hecker's there is robbed us of. Could you imagine if Daichi had got through and scored there? What Selhurst would have been like? It was even they gave us time to discuss as God, imagine Chilwell bends his free kick in. Like, it's just going to be. I fear for my legs. I think they might snap in two as I fall over the chairs in front of me. But yeah, and then it goes a bit mad. We make a couple more subs. I think Devaney comes on, Hughes comes on, and we're looking to soak up the pressure. But Carl, it's bodies everywhere. As Henderson said at the end, coming down the tunnel, get your Timberlands on because we're in the trenches. And I'm not sure if that fully adds up as a saying. But it was bodies everywhere.
It was, again, I love the manager to bits, and they've got a structure, but he's built a team spirit there. They were absolutely all in the trenches. The atmosphere at Selhurst, I think so many people say it's not like what it used to be. It's not. It was on Saturday, wasn't it? That was properly bouncing. Everybody singing, chanting, boo. And look, we even got a chance to bring on Joel Ward for his testimonial against Brighton. And I mean, we're actually trolling them. It was absolutely fantastic. And there were how many times were there blocks going in? Chilwell, I mean, he definitely doesn't look like a lone player who hasn't bought into something. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it really was. And I mean, I think at the end of it, was it Joel Ward in the middle of the three with Lerma on the left and Munoz on the right, and then basically everyone else just getting their bodies in the way of the ball. It was
and Kamada springing out. It was the amount of times Kamada sprung out in that last 3-4 minutes that was enough that sent it all the way back to the keeper, and it was just enough. There wasn't sat in there deep going, keep coming. He was a pain in the backside for him. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and starting to understand his comments now, if you remember all the way back to the beginning of the season when it was like, what are your strengths? And he's like, I don't really have any strengths in that sense. Like, I can see what he's getting at and what he's saying. He just does so many little things well in that game that just amount to a really good performance, as opposed to, actually doing any sort of like standout eye-catching things. He just did a lot of really simple things and important things well across the 90 minutes. And hopefully he can start to build on that and really, bring it home. The player we thought we signed in that sense.
Well, the haters are gonna hate, and sometimes it takes people a little while to realise what somebody's doing because they've got their preconceived ideas based on some performances at the start of the season. All I say is, I thought he made a difference when he came on at Fulham. I thought he made a significant difference against Southampton. And I thought he had and I was the same as everybody else. I picked the team knowing in my head that Lerma would be in the back three against Brighton, and clearly Hughes was going to play. So when you see Kamada in the team news, you're like, oh, okay, this would be big, this would be interesting. I had him as my man of the match, and I know he didn't get man of the match, and maybe some others players were slightly better than him. But versus the expectation, he wasn't carried in any which way. He made our performance. I was so pleased for him.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's clear Kamada, Lerma, and Henderson were the standout players on the day.
Yeah. And
Henderson, he said it. He knew he was going to have to make one big save in stoppage time, and it comes right at the end. You just saw it happening in slow motion as the ball came in, and you saw the man peel away at the back stick, and you're just like, it's coming back across and it's going to come to him. But Henderson had already made a brilliant double save in the first half, with the second being with his feet, and then he's followed it up again. He's just so good at saving the ball with his feet and keeps it out, goes for a corner. They lump it deep. Taylor gives us a free kick and we know it's over, and Henderson starts orchestrating Selhurst Park. And the noise, I mean, it's up there, top 3 loudest I've ever heard Selhurst in my life.
Yeah.
Maybe even the loudest. It was just unbelievable. Like, when I got home, even my wife was like, what was going on? Like, it was so loud. Like, you could hear it with the windows and the door closed. Like, how loud.
Yeah. That was just the new speakers.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yes, the new speakers.
But look, I'm older than both you boys, as you know. I've been doing Selhurst longer than both you boys. And there'd be people who would tell you 50,000, you should have heard the noise at Selhurst. And look, I agree with you. That was right. That last 15, 20 minutes at Selhurst, the noise, especially the last 5, 10, was as loud as I've heard Selhurst. It was fantastic.
Yeah, there was one, but I think it was just just before Henderson had made, or just after Henderson made that save. Like, my jaw just hit my chest because it just went up a massive notch. I was just like, what? Like, it was, my ear felt like it was piercing on to my left. It was just, loved it, and really just enjoyed that last 20 minutes like nothing before, whereas particularly the last 14 minutes.
Yeah, what I really liked as well was when we got that free kick, seeing Lacroix and JP leg it onto the pitch and then quickly find out that they needed to leg it back off the pitch again. And even, I mean, there's a video of it when we get given the free kick and Henderson's just geeing up the crowd, and then as I look over to the Brighton fans, gees up the crowd a bit more.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. And yeah, noise-wise, I mean, it seemed to get louder from the moment Nketiah went off, and everyone was like, okay, we got something to defend. Let's have it. It just got louder and louder. Every block, it went up a bit. Every save, every clearance.
Yeah.
Oh, it was we went for a few drinks after. It's not even that many. Got home, not late. I was knackered. I was completely emotionally spent. Vanessa has one of these heart monitor doodles on her Apple Watch or whatever. And she was like, I was in the red. I was in the red for 20 minutes at the end. It was great. And to come out with it with a win, that save from Henderson at the end, you can just see it sort of nestling in the corner at the other end and the away fans going mad. Like, to get away with the win, not get away with it, to get the win. It was fucking brilliant. It was so good.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed my sister when Gay got sent off, turning around to everyone, right, I want to hear everyone. We've got to be the 10th man.
The 10th man. Genius.
Yeah, very, very good. So, yeah, brilliant result. First double over Brighton since 1933, which feels incredulous, really, that, it's never happened in that long. So Glasner out here breaking pre-World War II records as it is pretty impressive. I saw someone say, was it I can't remember what it was. American economic collapse. It's like 1933 all over again. Palace doing a double over Brighton, very, very good. Enjoyed that. But now Carl, you're convinced that we can't do Europe through the league.
We can't.
You're utterly convinced.
I'm absolutely convinced.
But
and with the FA Cup.
Well, our run starts now, and that's basically what I'm getting at. Is our run starts now where we go? Was it City, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Arsenal?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Say there's a world, Carl, where we go and win all 4 of those.
Bloody, what world are you living in?
Yeah. Christ, honestly, yeah. Let's live on that.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Got that. And then we have
then we're on 55 points. Then.
Yeah. So
right?
we still 55. So we're still going to need somewhere another 5 to 7 points to finish 7th/8th.
Even though we've won those 4 games and beaten those teams above us.
I don't think we.
What does that do to your model?
Yeah, I'd absolutely. We're literally going to need to be flawless the whole way through it. Statistically, we've never done that in our history previously. So, yeah, it's not empirical, but it's we're not going to make Europe through it. I think there's through the league. Just live this one though. We do win the FA Cup. There are only 7 places in the league. Brighton don't get Europe because we did the double over them.
No, that sounds beautiful. That does.
Honestly, that I like.
Honestly.
That I like.
That's it. That's it.
And FA Cup is direct qualification into the group stages of Europa?
Yeah, straight to the groups.
Wow.
Just pause for a second. This is why it's going to be our greatest ever season.
And I think we're timing it perfectly against Villa, you know. They've won every game since we duffed them up 4-1 at Selhurst. Can't still be winning every game a month from now.
Oh my God, I can't believe he's just said that.
or hopefully they have won a few more, because then they've knocked PSG out and they've got a Champions League semi-final to worry about. Which now looks like it might be against Arsenal, who have spanked Real Madrid 3-0 tonight. Spoiler alert.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Yeah, you never know. That could be up in a couple of years. Glasner picks up his second Europa League next season. Qualify for the Champions League.
I was just about to say, and if we win the Europa League, that's me. I'm actually out. But as you say, we'd be in the Champions League, so I'm back in again, aren't I?
I'm back in.
I'm back in.
Love it. Well, what would be great, we would get Arminia Bielefeld in our group in the Europa League next season if they go and beat Stuttgart in the DFB Pokal final. Unbelievable from that. Just got to love that. Shades of Palace in '76, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they've got a little team to go beat, haven't they, in the final?
Yeah, with Stuttgart, yeah. Stuttgart, they got in the final. We're doing quite well. Right, so yeah, briefly, we've got City on the weekend. We've been running long, so we'll just keep it brief. Hesketh, what's the score going to be?
3-0 to City.
Yay, there he is.
He's back. Back again. Hesketh's back. Tell your friends.
Right. Carl, what about you? You going up there?
I am going up. I'm up on Friday night because it's an early kickoff and I just didn't fancy those risks that comes with all the early trains. Double header, picking up a non-league game afterwards because I'm an anorak. 1-1.
Who are you going after?
1-1. I don't know. It's in the app. I don't know. So it's about 2 miles away from the ground. I worry about that. After we've got our last-minute equaliser.
Yeah, well, that will be akin to last season, wouldn't it, when we made that amazing comeback from 2-0. They're shit. We're going to win 2-0.
Oh! But we're going to win 2-0. Oh.
Yeah, they're shit. They're shit. Well, I say that assuming that Lacroix and Richards are going to be in the back three.
Yeah. How is that?
Both of whom wasn't in the open training session today, apparently. So,
yeah. How is that concussion injury going? Because he seemed to be running on the pitch all right. Yeah. I've got to say that did look a rather dodgy sub, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen that back because we're amateurish. I haven't seen that back at all. I haven't seen it in any highlights. I guess I have to go back and watch the full 90 to understand what happened to Lacroix there. But yeah, bit of a strange one.
Yeah,
just a coming together, was it?
Yeah, I didn't. I again, being the amateur, I haven't seen it. But what I do know is, around about 20 minutes after he went off, he was running in front of the Holmesdale, weaving and throwing saluting punches. Got to love him to bits. And actually, can I just say one last bit? Can I just say something that was absolutely beautiful and shows he's the leader that he is? Nketiah sent off and walking off. Who sprints after him, puts his arm around him and tells him, "Don't worry, lad." Brilliant, weren't it?
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Proper leader.
Yeah, undoubtedly going to be club captain next year, I assume. Or unless Gay signs a new contract, who knows? But a team full of leaders, right? Because we've had that in the past, and you think 2016, team full of leaders, went to the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
Back with another team of leaders. Yeah, fucking love it. What a season, boys. What a season. It's turning out to be the season we thought it was going to be at the start. Who would have thought it after those first 8 games?
No point in going too early in the season.
Well, look, we've got to enjoy it. We've got to make hay while the sun shines because it doesn't always shine on Crystal Palace Football Club. So
no, it doesn't.
It doesn't indeed. Right. Going to wrap it up there. Hesketh, thank you as always.
Cheers.
Carl, brilliant as always, mate. Thanks for standing in.
Cheers, guys.
And enjoy City on the weekend. I'll be watching it in a pub on my way back from Broadstairs. Hopefully I can
Did he
find
say
a nice
Broadmoor or Broadstairs?
No, Broadmoor will be at the end of the season when we win the FA Cup and I trespass over Selhurst Park in the middle of the night. Yeah. So. Right. Lovely. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back normal next week. Are we playing Wednesday? Next week we are playing Wednesday. All right. Forget I said that.
Figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll let you know on socials. But until next time, up the Palace.